What's going on YouTube? Kamikaze Von Doom here, and in today's video, we are going to ask the question, why? Why do people think The Division Heartland is never coming out? Why do people think that Ubisoft dev studios going on strike could affect The Division resurgence? Why is everyone talking so much ish about The Division 2's latest PTS? And much more. So, if that sounds interesting, sit back, relax, grab that popcorn, you know the deal. And let's go ahead and jump into it. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to start off with something familiar. We'll start off with the Division 2, then we'll go into the Division Resurgence, the Division Heartland, and then wrap it all up together. Now, overall, let me just tell you overall, the Division universe is going to have a huge year overall, okay? As of right this second, it's in a horrible position. But overall, I think that this year will be a great year for the Division universe as a whole. But let's talk about why right now the Division universe is in massive trouble. All right. And I'm only going to go over this in a very quick fashion. That way, we're not having like an hour-long video about this. So this was a video I posted, yesterday? Yep, the 19th. Yep, yesterday. And this is my entire review for the PTS that we just had for Season 11, Title Update 17. Now, we all know that PTS Phase 1 ended on Tuesday, but what we didn't know and what was then revealed is that that was the end of the PTS altogether. So it wasn't just the end of PTS Phase 1, it was the entire PTS was cut off. They didn't say why, and they just said, stay tuned for a live stream. We'll give you more details about the update. So that right off the bat put the community in kind of like a negative feeling because the PTS was in horrible conditions. The new gear set was not working right. The new named weapon talent was not working right. The brand set people had problems with and recommendations on changing, so people weren't really happy about that. The exotic rifle, marksman rifle, that was tested in the PTS was not working as intended. And then, of course, we're not even talking about the controversy surrounding the raid exotics going into the Dark Zone. And then also the Ninja Bike Messenger backpack, which was announced, but never tested, never seen, and then never talked about afterwards. So it seems like there was a bunch of hype going into this PTS. And then as soon as the first day of the PTS was over, people realized, oh, wait, there's a bunch of issues, there's a bunch of bugs, and there are a bunch of things missing from this PTS. So then they all left, and then a couple days later, when they ended the Phase 1, they were like, you know what, we're just going to go ahead and cut off the PTS altogether. And here we are. So as far as the Division 2, right now, right this second, as I said in yesterday's video, I am not looking forward to Season 11. I am looking forward to Year 5. I believe that they took a lot of their personnel and a lot of their, I don't know, a lot of their manpower or whatever you want to call it, dev power. There you go, developer power. And I feel as if they're using all of that dev power to focus on Year 5. And with this being the last season of Season 4 or of Year 4, I'm believing that we're just like cruising across the finish line to go into Year 5. Because what was promised with the PvP changes are not really happening as they were initially talked about. The specialization revamp is to be announced. As far as we know, it's been canceled. And the new game mode is still on track to hit the game. It's just not going to be coming with Season 11. So Season 11 overall just has a bad stigma around it, mainly because a lot of things are broken, a lot of things are not in there, and what is in there is very heavily sniper based, or you're going to be waiting for that Ninja Bike Messenger bag. Now, we don't know if that Ninja Bike Messenger bag is going to be in the season reward track or if it's going to be in the end of the manhunt target. Still don't know about that one either. We still don't even know about the core attributes or normal attributes. I mean, hell, we don't know anything about the Ninja Bike Messenger bag. Let's be real. They mentioned it, everyone got hyped, and then they didn't say a word. So right now, the Division 2 is in it's not looking good. There are problems that need to be addressed, but we're not sure exactly what's going on. And hopefully, with their next live stream, we can get a lot of these um, anxious questions answered, and then we can all move on and have a good season 11 and nice little momentum into year 5. But we'll see. I'm skeptical right now just because I don't know what they're doing. Ending that PTS the way they did, it kind of signified to me that the season is going to be going live very soon. And if it's going live very soon, I have a feeling that they're doing these timelines. Um, they're not being what's the word? They're not having a free schedule. This is kind of like a forced kind of thing is how it's coming off. As in they have like a real timeline that they have to meet, and there can't be any more delays or anything at all, so they have to meet this deadline. So I think they ended the PTS phase 1 the way they did because they wouldn't have enough time to do a phase 2 and address, problems that anyone finds within. So doing the phase 1 and only the phase 1, I would think that they might even do a live stream. I mean, I don't know, within the next week or so. So who knows? Because typically they do those live streams only a couple days before the actual update. So whenever we do get a live stream, expect that update to go live very soon after. Okay. So that's it about the Division 2. Let's start into the world of the Division Mobile and the Division Resurgence. And here we are. So, the Division Resurgence, aka the Div Mobile. Now, this is their official Twitter page. If you didn't know, now you know. Now, this Twitter page has gone dark since last year. I mean, let's be real, it's only been a few weeks, but still, it's been since, right before the holidays. Now, a lot of people are speculating that it's due to the Ubisoft strikes that are about to go in place in Paris, France. Okay? So let's explain exactly what's going on here because this is kind of juicy, but I also think that this could affect the game, but as a whole, it's not going to affect the game that much. So let me clarify what I'm trying to say here. So here's Ubisoft Paris, right? This is the Ubisoft Paris studio. They're known for Just Dance, Ghost Recon, Mario Rabbids, Skull and Bones. Life goes on. I mean, the list goes on and on. Ubisoft Paris, their own thing, their own studio, right? Now, a lot of people are getting confused because Ubisoft Mobile is based out of Paris. Okay, so if I click right here, this is the ubisoft.com. All right, location, Paris area, France, Ubisoft Mobile HQ. And every time we see anything from the Division Resurgence, the Division Mobile, anytime we see like a article or a interview or anything at all about this game, they always talk about how it is either from Paris or they are in Paris or their studio is based out of Paris. They say that a lot. So I'm not saying that these Ubisoft strikes, which we're about to get into, I'm not saying that it's going to deeply impact the Division Resurgence. But what you need to understand is that the Ubisoft Paris in general is about to go on strike, and that could impact this mobile headquarters, which is, dealing with the Division Resurgence. So let me explain the articles. So we have two articles here. One is from Game Developer, and the other one is from PC Gamer. So we'll start with PC Gamer because PC Gamer is a huge huge source. So if you click on here, they have what 2.5 million followers on Twitter. Yeah, it's pretty big. So here's their article. Now I'm not going to read both articles because they both generally say the same thing. Now, whenever we talk about the CEO, instead of butchering his name, I'm just going to say Ubisoft CEO. And instead of saying the entire name of their union, I'm just going to say the union. Okay. And then we'll get through this article quick and fast. Now, I just want to note right here, this is a picture of Ubisoft. And a whole bunch of devs. Here's Julian Garrity, the old creative director of Division 2. That's isn't that Thailander? Yeah. I mean there's a few devs that we can see in here that are actually quite familiar. Interesting. That's pretty cool. Anyways, here is PC Gamer's article about these strikes. So, Ubisoft Paris employees are going on strike to protest the CEO's catastrophic comments. Now, this says Ubisoft Paris, okay? And as I'm reading through this article, you'll see that it just says Ubisoft Paris over and over. Now, obviously, if we look up Ubisoft Paris Studio, you'll see that this is, we are over 750 game devs and artists working on all these games. So Ubisoft Paris is a huge studio. So that's why I'm saying take this as you will, because they might be talking about this studio in particular, where the Division Resurgence is from Ubisoft Mobile, which is also, in Paris. So it's kind of confusing. We don't know if it's all of the Ubisoft devs all together are all going on strike. But if they are, then that means the Division Resurgence developers are also going on strike because their headquarters is based out of Paris. Okay, so here we go. The union representing the studio workers. Now, right here it says studio workers. So, right off the bat, I'm thinking this means Ubisoft Paris Studio and not just, Ubisoft, companies in Paris. Says that the CEO is trying to blame employees for his own failures, which sounds crazy. Here we go. Ubisoft announced last week that they are not having a good 2023 so far. Skull and Bones was delayed again. I think it was for like the 6th time they've delayed that. But more seriously, the company's inability to release games that anyone cares about has caused serious financial bleeding. Now Ubisoft is facing even more headaches as the union has called for a strike at Ubisoft Paris on January 27th. So I'm recording this right now on January 20th. So that means next week they are looking at going on strike. A strike might seem like an odd response to being told the company is in trouble outside of France, at least. It arises from statements made by the Ubisoft CEO, who said in last week's update that the company is looking to cut $215 million in expenses over the next 2 years through targeted restructuring, divesting some non-core assets, and usual natural attrition. Interesting. So basically, they're just employees, right? In a follow-up to the email, Ubisoft employees, the CEO told workers that he needs their full energy and commitment to ensure we get back on path to success, adding, I am also asking that each of you be especially careful and strategic with your spending and initiatives to ensure we're being as efficient and lean as possible. He's telling his own devs to watch their own spending and initiatives and be as lean and efficient as possible. This is fresh. Now it says those words attracted the union, of course, and they called the CEO's comments catastrophic. Now, accusing the CEO of planning staff reductions, discrete studio closures, salary cuts, and disguised layoffs. So, yeah, the devs are pissed. Now, it says right here on several occasions, the CEO has been trying to shift the blame once again onto the employees. He expects us to be mobilized, to get it our all, to give it our all, to be as efficient and as lean as possible, the union wrote in its strike call. These words mean something: overtime, managerial pressure, burnt out, etc. The CEO asks a lot from his employees without any compensation. So that's why the union's calling for a strike. They're saying, you're threatening our jobs, you're overworking us, you're not compensating us, you're making us work under all of this pressure. We're burnt out, we don't have any time off, and you're telling us to be even more lean and as efficient as possible. Like the CEO is making them bend over backwards. Then he says, the studio said salaries at Ubisoft have failed to keep up with inflation, that the company has implemented a 4-day work week. Ubisoft reportedly experimented with the 36-hour work week back in 2021, but declined to carry on with it. So they do not have a 4-day work week, but they want a 4-day work week. Okay. And there are no protections in place for exhausted dev teams after their projects are completed, meaning there are no protections for like relax and recover. R&R is what they would call it, in like the military or whatever. So they're getting overworked. They have pressure to meet these deadlines, and now they do not have protections in place so that after they have completed that they don't just roll into the next thing. Some sort of like break, I guess, is what they're talking about. So the union has thus made 4 demands. One, let's get rid of these ads. Come on, PC Gamer. Their first demand for the strike: an immediate 10% increase for all salaries, regardless of annual increases to compensation to compensate for inflation, with hundreds of millions of euros obtained from the Tencent. There is money in the coffers of the employee. Oh, I mean, that last part, they didn't have to say that. But basically, the union is calling for an increase in everyone's salary to compensate for inflation. Okay. The next demand: improvement of working conditions, in particular, the implementation of a 4-day work week. All right. Fair enough. Next, transparency on the evolution of the workforce, both locally and globally. I mean, that should already be in place. And finally, a strong commitment against disguised dismissals and condemnation of abusive managerial policies that push employees to resign. Dang. What the F? So basically, they push their devs to the breaking point and then say, look, if you don't like it, you can leave. That's so crappy. I mean, wow. I understand. I get it. And here again from the union, they say, and because the CEO and his clique only understand the relationship of power, the union is calling on all the employees of Ubisoft Paris to go on strike Friday, the 27th of January in the afternoon from 2 to 6 p.m., the union wrote. Now, that says calling on the employees of Ubisoft Paris. I'm assuming that just means the Paris studio, but I don't know if the Ubisoft mobile headquarters is a part of that or not. We just know that they are in Paris. Now, it says the call for the strike is limited to Ubisoft Paris. Okay, there you go. Rather than the company as a whole, because the union is a French trade union with a chapter at the Paris studio. Okay. And numerous other in France, but not others. This isn't the first time it's taken action against Ubisoft. Back in 2021, the union filed legal action against Ubisoft over allegations of institutional sexual harassment. And later that year, it criticized Ubisoft's plans to move into NFTs, calling them useless, costly, and ecologically mortifying. I've reached out to Ubisoft for a comment on the strike call and will update if they receive a reply. All right. This was written by Andy Chalk over there at the PC Gamer magazine. So the CEO said, you guys need to work harder and be more efficient and lean. The employees said, we're already working too much. We want a 4-day work week that you haven't given us. We're sick of being pushed into resigning, and we want our salaries to match inflation. I mean, it all sounds pretty understandable. I mean, I get it. I get it. But we'll see where this goes and how this will affect the Division Resurgence being based out of Paris. Again, this is all about Ubisoft Paris, and that is all that it is affecting is Ubisoft Paris. Now, it's said that that is because that union only works with French development studios, which the Division Resurgence is a part of that. So we'll see exactly where that takes us. But now let's talk about the very last thing being the Division Heartland. So I wrote this this the other day. So Jake Lucky over there on Twitter tweeted this out. Tell me what video game has the best movement. And then I was just joking. I'm like, the Division Heartland, because anytime anyone says anything about a video game, I'm like, the Division Heartland, because I've been waiting on this game to come out for ages. And then we get canceled games don't count, bro. People are claiming that they're canceled. And then, if you, let's see if we can click on it. Boo doo boo. It's not even showing up now. Come on. Oh, you gotta love, you gotta love Twitter. Gotta love it. But anyways, it said cancel games don't count, bro. We've only played alpha and beta builds. It sucks. Bummer. And that seems to be the ongoing trend. And then we had this from Ubisoft support about Heartland. Hello, we understand that you would like to know a release date for the Division Heartland. We do not have this information yet. Once anything is available, we will be putting it in our social media channels. All right. So then I posted this to the creative director. I said, hey man, honest question. Can we please get an update on Heartland? The community's waiting. And I sent this out to Keith Evans, the creative director for Heartland. And I got a response, but not from him, but from one of his community devs. And Carrie said, we'll make sure to update you as soon as we have anything to share. And if you go to the likes, boo-doo, boo-doo, you'll see Keith Evans like that tweet. So you can understand that this is the official, thing from Heartland, is they don't have anything for us. Now, the reason I'm pointing this out is on social media, Red Storm has its own presence, right? I mean, 19K followers, what have you. It's not bad for a dev company. Now, Red Storm is the flagship dev team for the Division Heartland. I mean, you can see it right here. Heartland's posted up. Let's go. And we know that Massive Entertainment has nothing to do with the Division Heartland as far as the development process and all of that. Now, what reigns odd to me, right, if we go all the way back to this tab, the Div Mobile, right, 19K followers, the Division Resurgence, the Div Mobile. This is, a separate Twitter page from the Division game. And this is a game that is in the Division universe developed by a different company in a different country, being Paris, being Division Mobile headquarters. And they have their own Twitter page. I mean, hell, it's even verified. So the crazy part is Red Storm right here, verified 19K. They're not making a Division Heartland page for the community. They're going to shell it out to the Division's main page, which is odd to me because you would think that Red Storm, being the main developer for the game, would be the ones behind the marketing and the community engagement, and they would probably want their own, their own page for people to go to. But they don't, which rang really odd to me. Now, a lot of people are saying it's canceled, and it's not. I mean, you go over here to the Division's main, Twitter page. I understand it has 700K followers, so that's probably why they want everyone to go to this page, because this page will have more of a impact. It'll have more impressions, more of an audience, a larger demographic. I get it. But it also says right here the Division Resurgence, which does fall under the Division universe, but this page is not the main source for Resurgence news. All they do is retweet from the Div Mobile. So it's kind of odd that the Division Heartland doesn't do the same thing. Have your own separate page and then have this page just share it to the community, because this is where you go for the Division universe. If I'm thinking the Division Heartland, I don't want to come here for Heartland. I would go to Heartland for the news for Heartland. Just like for the Division Resurgence, I'm going to the Division Resurgence for their news. Yeah, they'll share it on here for everyone in the Division universe, but the Division Resurgence has its own source. You see what I'm getting at here? Resurgence and Heartland are not a part of the Division 1 or 2 at all. They're not. They're different games. The Division Resurgence is going to get into what happened in New York for Division 1 and what happened behind the scenes with, the first wave agents. But it's not a Division 1 or 2, it's not made by Massive. It's not a part of that, trilogy or saga, if you will. It's a part of the overall universe. It's going to give us more background story on the first wave and all of that, but it's not a part. You see what I'm saying here? And then same thing goes with the Division Heartland. The Division Heartland will take things from the Division universe and put it in its game, but it is not directly connected to the Division 2. It's not like we're going to get Manny Ortega or, whatever. You know what I mean? It's its own standalone game. So for some reason, in a marketing standpoint or a community standpoint, I believe Red Storm should have their own page and start marketing and getting the community hyped for it now. Because as of right now, there is absolutely nothing getting the community hyped for either one of these games, and they're both set to be released this year. Which brings me back to these articles. So this was just released a couple days ago, or maybe it was yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yes, it was. All 11 Ubisoft games to be released in the upcoming year. There are 11. Now, the biggest announcement was The Crew 3, which is going to be pretty big. But then if you go to these 11 unannounced games for 2023, you can see the very first game they mention is The Division Heartland. It's the very first game they mention, and it's going to be on all platforms. Crazy. That's ahead of Avatar, which I don't know. I don't know what that means. But this also says, read this part. It also says it's for fiscal year 2024, which starts in April 2023. Now, this would fall into the end of season 11. This does track. It does. It does track. Because the end of season 11 would take us to April-May timeframe, and then as soon as year 5, season 1 starts, cough, cough, wink, wink, hit, hit, it's going to be connected. And Heartland's going to be coming out right there at the end of season 11. Now we see X Defiance on this list, Assassin's Creed, Skull and Bones, Assassin's Creed again, and then boom, look at that. Two out of their 11 major titles to be released this year, 2 of them are Division Universe, which is exciting for us. And like I said, overall, this is going to be a great year for the Division universe. But right now, everything looks very, very grim. Now we come over here, another article. Here are all the Ubisoft games set to be released this year. We have, boom, there's the Division Heartland, and, oh, there it is, the Division Resurgence. Both of them. I mean, the multiple sources. Now, if you want all this news and more, anything Division Universe related, just follow me on Twitter at Kamikaze Von Doom. We're about to hit 5,200 followers, and we do everything Division related. So all of these articles, everything, it's already on my page because I share it as soon as I see it. So if you want to get the source as soon as it happens before I make a video, just follow me on Twitter. You'll get all that information as soon as it drops. But nevertheless, thank you all for watching the video. Hit that like, subscribe, you know the deal. I am Kamikaze Von Doom, and I will see you in the next one. Take care, everyone. Peace.